Welcome to today's podcast. We're diving into the rise of Singapore influencers and what's really driving their success.
Absolutely. It's fascinating how Singapore's influencer scene has exploded in recent years. What do you think kicked off this boom?
I think it's a mix of social media penetration and Singapore's tech-savvy population. People here are always online, right?
Definitely. And there's also the multicultural aspect. Influencers can reach diverse audiences by blending languages and cultures.
That's true. I've noticed some influencers switch between English, Mandarin, and even Singlish in their content. It feels authentic.
Yeah, and brands are catching on. They love working with influencers who can bridge cultural gaps and speak to different demographics.
Speaking of brands, do you think influencer marketing is really more effective than traditional advertising in Singapore?
In many ways, yes. People trust recommendations from someone relatable more than a billboard or TV ad.
But doesn't that make it harder for new influencers to stand out? The market feels saturated with similar content.
For sure. It's like a bubble tea shop on every corner. You need a unique flavor to get noticed.
Good analogy. I guess storytelling is key. The influencers who share personal stories seem to resonate more.
Right. And I've seen some who openly discuss their struggles, not just the highlights. That vulnerability builds trust.
On the flip side, do you think there's pressure to always look perfect online? That can't be healthy.
There is, definitely. The curated feeds set high expectations, and it can be exhausting to maintain that image.
I've heard some influencers talk about burnout. The constant need to create and engage must get overwhelming.
Yeah, and the pace is relentless. Algorithms reward frequent posting, so taking a break feels risky.
Have you noticed how some Singaporean influencers are now branching into regional or even global markets?
Yes, they collaborate with overseas creators, expanding their reach. It's impressive how local content goes international now.
And yet, some still focus on hyperlocal topics, hawker food, MRT rides, local slang. That keeps them grounded.
Exactly. And those local touches make the content more relatable. It's like a digital kopitiam conversation.
Speaking of local flavor, food influencers seem to have a special place in Singapore's heart.
Food is practically a national obsession. People love discovering new eats through influencers.
Remember that viral video about the hidden nasi lemak stall? The place had a queue for days after.
That's the power of influence. But with such impact, do you think there should be more regulations?
Good question. The government has started looking into sponsored content disclosures to keep things transparent.
That's fair. It's important for audiences to know when they're being marketed to. Transparency builds trust.
Still, some influencers get creative with their disclosures. Tiny hashtags, blink and you miss it captions.
True, and it's a balancing act. If it feels too much like an ad, engagement drops.
I wonder how followers can tell the difference between genuine recommendations and paid promotions.
Sometimes it's obvious, but other times it's subtle. It's up to the influencer, to be honest.
Have you ever bought something because an influencer recommended it?
Guilty. I tried a new cafe because of a review, and it was actually pretty good.
See, that's why brands love working with these influencers. The conversion rates are real.
But what about authenticity? There's always that risk of promoting things they don't actually use.
That's a concern. The most respected influencers are picky with partnerships. They say no more often than yes.
It's like curating a wardrobe. Not every shirt fits, right?
Exactly. And the audience can usually tell when something feels forced.
Speaking of audiences, Singaporeans can be pretty vocal online. Feedback comes fast and furious.
Yes, and social media doesn't forget. One slip-up can haunt you for years.
That's why reputation management is critical. Some influencers even hire PR teams now.
It's almost like running a small business. There's branding, marketing, and customer service all in one.
And the competition is fierce. New faces pop up every day, each trying to carve out their niche.
Do you think there's still room for new influencers, or is the market too crowded?
There's always room for fresh perspectives, but it takes creativity and persistence to break through.
I agree. Niche topics can help. For example, some influencers focus on sustainability or mental health.
Yes, And those topics resonate with younger audiences who care about social issues.
I've noticed some collaborations between influencers and nonprofits. That's a positive trend.
It is. It shows that influence can be used for good, not just selling products.
But I also see criticism. Some accuse influencers of virtue signaling or doing it just for publicity.
That's inevitable. The key is consistency. If someone genuinely cares, it shows over time.
Do you think the influencer phenomenon in Singapore is here to stay?
I think so, but it will evolve. Maybe we'll see more focus on community and less on follower counts.
The platforms themselves keep changing too. TikTok's rise has shaken things up.
Absolutely. Short-form videos are king now. Attention spans are shorter than ever.
Yet, long-form content like YouTube vlogs still has a loyal following.
True, especially for deep dives, like food reviews or travel vlogs.
Have you noticed how some Singapore influencers use humor to stand out?
Yes, self-deprecating jokes and local references always get a laugh.
It makes them feel approachable, not like distant celebrities.
Exactly. And that approachability is a big part of their appeal.
What about the darker side? Online harassment and trolling seem to be on the rise.
Unfortunately, yes. Popularity comes with scrutiny, and not all feedback is positive.
Some influencers have spoken out about mental health challenges. It's good that the conversation is opening up.
I agree. It humanizes them and reminds followers that influencers are people too.
Do you think schools should offer digital literacy classes to address these issues?
That's a great idea. Educating young people about online safety is crucial.
And maybe teaching about the business side too. Contracts, taxes, all the behind-the-scenes work.
Definitely. Being an influencer isn't just about taking pretty pictures.
Some say it's a 24/7 job. There's no clocking out from your online persona.
That's why some take digital detox breaks to recharge.
And their followers usually understand, which is nice to see.
It shows that audiences value authenticity over endless content.
Looking ahead, what trends do you see shaping the next wave of Singapore influencers?
I think augmented reality and virtual influencers could become more prominent.
That's interesting. Virtual influencers blur the line between reality and fiction.
It opens new creative possibilities, but also raises questions about authenticity.
And the technology keeps getting better. Who knows, maybe we'll have AI influencers soon.
Maybe we already do, and we just don't know it.
That's a bit spooky, but it makes sense in our digital age.
Ultimately, I think the heart of influence is connection, real or virtual.
Well said. Whether it's sharing a food recommendation or a life lesson, it's about making people feel seen.
And as long as influencers keep that focus, the industry will keep thriving.
Before we wrap up, what advice would you give to someone who wants to become an influencer in Singapore?
Find your unique voice, stay authentic, and don't chase trends blindly.
And remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. Success rarely happens overnight.
Well, this has been a great discussion. Thanks for sharing your insights.
Thank you too. And to our listeners, what do you think the future holds for Singapore influencers?
Let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you next time.